Title: My wife went to a party with only one man and stayed the night, so I took brutal revenge. It was a typical Friday night when Emily, my wife of 10 years, announced she was going to a get-together with some old friends from college. She was excited, putting on her favorite dress and looking radiant as ever. We had been married long enough for these little events to become part of our routine, so when she kissed me goodbye and said, "Don't wait up," I barely blinked. "Have fun," I said, smiling as she walked out the door. I trusted her. Why wouldn't I? But a few hours later, that feeling started to shift. It wasn't a sudden, overwhelming suspicion, just a quiet tug of unease. She hadn't posted anything to Instagram, and Emily was usually quick to show off her outings, especially when she looked as good as she did tonight. There were no updates, no check-ins, nothing. I brushed it off at first, telling myself not to be paranoid. She's just having fun, I thought. I grabbed a beer, settled into the couch, and tried to lose myself in a movie. But the knot in my stomach tightened as the hours dragged on. I glanced at the clock. 1:30 a.m. Still no word. That's when I did something I'd never done before. I opened our shared phone account and checked the text logs. It felt wrong, intrusive, but my gut told me there was more to this night than she had let on. And I was right. The name Ryan popped up again and again in the message logs. A quick scroll through the messages was enough to paint a clear picture. Ryan wasn't an old college friend. He was someone she had met online, someone she had been texting, flirting with, and tonight, she was with him. A part of me wanted to stop reading, to pretend it wasn't happening. But I couldn't. My hands trembled as I read through their messages. They weren't overtly sexual, but they had that undertone, a connection. They joked, they shared inside details, and the words that crushed me. "I can't wait to see you tonight." My head spun. Emily, the woman I had loved and trusted for over a decade, was lying to me. And here I was, sitting at home like an idiot, while she spent the night with another man. By the time she walked through the door at 3:30 a.m., my world had shifted. Emily came in quietly, as if trying not to wake me, her heels clicking softly against the hardwood floor. Her hair was a mess, and she smelled faintly of alcohol. "You're still awake?" she asked, her voice soft but surprised. She was caught off guard. "Yeah," I said, keeping my voice even. "Just couldn't sleep." "How was the party?" I asked, watching her carefully. She hesitated just for a moment, but long enough for me to notice. "It was fine. Just a few of us catching up. I didn't realize it was so late." I studied her, searching for signs of the truth behind her words. Her eyes didn't meet mine. Instead, she busied herself with taking off her shoes, setting them neatly by the door. That subtle avoidance, it told me everything I needed to know. "So, who was there?" I asked casually, pretending not to know the answer. "Just some old friends," she replied too quickly. "You wouldn't know them." A lie. I knew who was there. Only one person. Ryan. I didn't push her further that night. I wanted to, desperately, but I needed more. More proof. I wasn't going to confront her until I had every detail, every fact laid out. I didn't just want an apology. I wanted retribution. Over the next few days, I dove deeper into Emily's world. When she wasn't looking, I checked her phone, her social media, anything that could give me more information. I learned about Ryan, how they met through a friend of a friend, how their conversations had started out innocently, and how they had grown closer over time. The messages became more intimate, more personal. I began piecing together the nights she had gone out with friends and compared them to her text logs with Ryan. It all lined up. She had been seeing him behind my back for weeks. One evening when she was taking a shower, I found what I needed, the message that sealed her fate. Ryan had sent her a photo of the two of them at the party, his arm around her waist, her head resting on his shoulder, both of them smiling. It was clear they weren't just friends. My blood boiled. I stared at the screen, my heart pounding in my chest. I felt a rage I hadn't known I was capable of. But mixed with that anger was something else. Cold, calculated clarity. This wasn't going to be a shouting match. No. This betrayal required something deeper, something that would leave a mark she would never forget. I started crafting my revenge, carefully, methodically. I couldn't just confront her. No, that would be too easy. I needed to make her feel the depth of what she had done, and I needed Ryan to feel it too. First, I let her believe everything was fine. I was distant, but not suspiciously so. I continued my routine, giving her space, letting her think she was getting away with it. In the meantime, I began tracking Ryan. I found his social media, his workplace, and even his personal email. He was careless, like so many people are. I created a fake persona, someone who appeared to be a mutual friend of Emily's, someone who could get close to Ryan. Over a series of weeks, I built an online relationship with him, gaining his trust, learning more about his life. He didn't suspect a thing. At the same time, I installed hidden cameras in our house, capturing every moment Emily spent texting him. I recorded their phone conversations, their secret meetings, all of it. I was building a case not for a legal battle, but for something far worse. The day finally arrived. Emily had left the house to meet a friend for coffee, and I knew exactly where she was headed. Ryan's apartment. I let her go, but this time, I wasn't just waiting at home. I had already set up the final step of my plan. I uploaded the footage I had collected, carefully editing it to tell a story of betrayal, of lies, of a woman who had deceived her husband with a man who thought he could steal someone else's wife. I posted it anonymously on a popular social media platform, framing it as a social experiment. It didn't take long for the video to gain traction. By the time Emily returned home that evening, the internet had turned against her. She had no idea what was waiting for her. Her phone buzzed incessantly with messages and notifications. She unlocked it, her face growing pale as she scrolled through the comments. Her secret was out, and the world was watching. "What? What is this?" she stammered, her eyes wide with shock. I stood in the doorway, watching her fall apart. "I told you not to wait up," I said, my voice calm. But I couldn't help myself. She turned to me, tears welling in her eyes. "Did you do this?" I didn't answer. I didn't need to. Emily's life unraveled after that. Ryan disappeared, his reputation destroyed by the video's revelations. As for Emily, she became a pariah, her friends turning their backs on her, her social media accounts bombarded with hateful comments. She begged for my forgiveness, swore she still loved me, but it was too late. I packed my things and left without a word. The silence I left behind was all the answer she needed. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe to Lauren's story for more dramatic, thought-provoking tales. There's always more where this came from.